All right, welcome to week 6. If you're watching this video, it's because you're in my English 10 class and you were gone at some point during this week. This is week 6 of second semester, which means this Friday is grade day. So we'll talk about that. As a reminder, we will have independent reading time on both Tuesday and Thursday, and we are going to continue on with our creative writing unit. My plan is to hopefully finish that by spring break, like the last day before spring break. That'll be the last day in this creative writing unit. And then you are going to have an opportunity to work on finishing a few things from last week. So like I said, this Friday is grade day, which means as a reminder, I want you to think about the fact that I want to treat these 6-week grading periods like boxes. Once we are out of that 6-week period and we're into a new 6 weeks, that box is locked. And if you have assignments that you haven't turned in from that previous 6 weeks, I will not grade it or touch it or look at it unless you come and talk to me and explain kind of why you didn't turn it in or what happened. Again, as a reminder, I've said this over and over again, the reason I'm kind of changing that is because I want us to practice self-responsibility and self-advocacy, and it's going to help me a ton because I really don't want to have over 200 late assignments to grade before the end of the semester. So just keep that in mind. Reminder number 2, I want you to know that I am here for you outside of class as well as inside of class. I know that I only see you for 90-minute chunks 2, sometimes 3 times a week, and sometimes that's not enough. So if you feel like you need extra support or help or have a question or want anything from me to help you succeed in this class, you can come before or after school. I have a little sign in my window that will tell you when I am available. And then reminder number 3, myself and Mrs. Royal, one of the science teachers and volleyball coaches here, we are starting a men's volleyball team at West, and it's the first year that it's ever happened. So if this applies to you and you are interested in joining, we are having a meeting this week on Thursday in my classroom after school at 3:30. You can click on here to see the video announcements for this week. We're going to start off with some independent reading time. And then we are going to look at our famous writers spotlight feature again. And today we're kind of going with definitely a more modern, unconventional route. We are going to look at a writer from the aspect of sometimes you can find really, really good writers and they're not always the people you suspect, or at least this is the case for me. So today we're going to be looking at an excerpt from Matthew McConaughey's book. He is primarily an actor and in the entertainment industry within movies and TV shows. But he recently wrote a autobiographical memoir about his life, and he is a really, really great writer. And I think sometimes we can kind of, like with celebrities or actors or actresses, we kind of forget that just because they primarily act and like that's their job, that doesn't mean that they're not awesome writers too. I've read lots of biographies and autobiographies that are really good. And so we're going to look at a really cool chapter. It's about the name of the book, and we're going to listen to it. So if you are watching this and you're gone the day that we do this, I linked the chapter in Canvas in the modules, and it's like 3 pages long. It's really short. So we're going to read it, and I want you to answer these questions. What are green lights? Describe this green light metaphor that he gives, because he talks about it in this chapter. And then I want you to think practically about your own life. What are some green lights that you've had or you want to have in the future? And you're going to list those out. Okay, the next thing we're going to be doing is pretty cool. It's going to require very minimal work on your end. All you have to do is write, and then I take care of everything else for you. So you are going to be writing a letter to your junior self. I decided to do this with my juniors that I have right now to make it a letter to their senior self. And I thought it would be cool to do that with you as well. So it's going to be like a little time capsule. On a piece of paper, you are going to write a letter to yourself. The only person that's going to read this is you. I'm not going to share it with anybody else. It's going to be just for you to hold on here. Sorry, my computer's acting up. This is going to be just something for you to kind of like reflect back on. And it's cool to kind of get like a letter from your past self, and you kind of forget about it because the summer goes on and then it arrives at your doorstep, and it's really fun. I had teachers that did this for me, so I want to do it for you. So in this letter, you can write about essentially what you want to, but here's some kind of ideas. Write about what life is like right now. Write about your hopes for your junior year. What do you want your junior year to be like? And then a life lesson that you learned this year, some wisdom that you would share with your future self. I am going to mail this letter to you in September so that you can read it before you actually start your junior year. And then if you feel very confident in your handwriting being legible, I have the envelopes already ready to go with your names on them, but it'll help me if you can write your address, the mailing address that you would want me to send this to you. Because I have access to find that and write it myself, but that's going to take so long. So if you have good legible handwriting and want to help me, you can write it on your own envelope. Okay, so we last week talked about fractured fairy tales and how traditionally fairy tales and children's stories have been told to kind of teach some sort of moral of the story or a lesson in a very creative way. And we looked at Little Red Riding Hood and The Princess and the Pea, and now you are going to write your own. You started planning that out last week. We didn't actually get to the writing yet, but you're going to do that this week, and we are going to use canva.com. If you haven't used it before, it's probably because maybe you're new to my class, but we used it earlier in the year, so this should be familiar to you. I'll show you some examples here on the slides, but essentially when you go to Canva, you're going to go to, should be the home screen that will pop up for you. You're going to go up here to, where is it? The search bar, and type A4. You're going to click on it. A4 is just like printer size paper. You're going to click on a blank template. And then what I want you to do is go up to Elements. On the left-hand side, go to the Lines and Shapes and hit See All. And I want you to do this dotted line. Click on it. It'll just automatically appear. I want you to move it so that it does this. You see that highlighted pink that shows that's directly in the middle of the page? And then you're going to pull and stretch it out. The reason I'm having you do this is because when you create your story, I want you to have 2 pages on 1 page. So 1 page, 1 page. What we'll do when we actually print these out is cut right here along the dotted line, and then it'll make it a smaller version of a book instead of printer size paper. So that is essentially what you do. And then, from there, you can look up photos and text, and you can see my example that I also have in class. Here is what I'm asking of you. You already picked what story you want to do. You are going to write your story this week, and then you're going to do, some illustrations using Canva. So you need to have images on every page. There needs to be color. I want words on every page. So some part of the story is on every single page. 10 pages minimum, but they're half page, so that would be 5-page total, like front to back. And if that's confusing, let me know and I'll clarify. I really, really, really want you to use Canva because it's super easy to use. It's really fun. If you feel like that is just way too much for you, talk to me. And if you get it approved by me, you can do like a hand-drawn version, but I really want to try using Canva because it's a really great resource. Okay, we are going to do song stories again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're gone the day that this happens, let me know and I'll send the links to those songs for you. But essentially, you're just going to listen to the song and write and create a story as you're listening. And then we're going to continue finishing our fractured fairy tale. And if you have any questions, please let me know.